Okay, so now you've got a basic understanding of the Box platform. What I'm going to do now is go through and show you a few of the more advanced features. So if we head to the screen here, you'll notice that I've got my usual shared folders, but I've also got my own personal Box folder down here. Now most of you will by now have your own personal Box folder that you've been shown how to save files to. Now, my personal Box share is also set to sync to my desktop. Now you can tell that by this little blue icon here. Now what this does is anything that's stored in here or stored in here, for example, on my desktop, is automatically uploaded back into Box. So even if I'm not using the web browser, I can save documents straight into Box if I place them in my Box Documents folder. So if you're on Mac OS X or in Windows, they will be called Box Documents or My Box Files respectively. So I'm setting this folder to sync because I use these documents quite a lot and I want them always backed up. But there are instances where you may want to sync other folders from Box, not just your own. So if I go into the service delivery folder, I would think, okay, well, I use this folder quite a lot, so why don't I sync this whole thing? Now, the reason I wouldn't sync this whole shared folder is because of this. If I click the down arrow, and then I go down to folder properties, and I get some folder information for this folder, you'll notice that the folder is 228 gig. Now, obviously, trying to sync a folder that large would take forever. So I'm not going to sync this actual folder. What I can do though, is take another folder like Residential Queensland, get some information on it. Now, this folder is only 1.2 meg, so I use this folder all the time, so I'm going to start syncing that to my desktop. Now, if I click the down arrow and choose Sync Folder to Desktop, I'll be prompted if I want to sync this folder. Now, don't let the name fool you. Sync Folder to Desktop doesn't mean it'll place it straight on your desktop. What it means is it will sync it to your desktop computer, and it will store it in either Box Documents if you're in OS X, or My Box Files if you're on Windows. So let's go ahead and sync that now. So it's saying it was successfully enabled to sync. Well, that's great. Okay, but now what? Well, you should have an application on your machine called Box Sync. And what that does is start syncing things in the background. Now, my icon here has just changed from blue, which means all synced, to orange, which means currently syncing. Now, it's gone back to blue, which clearly means that all my files that I've set to sync have been synced. So let's go into Box Documents. And there it is, Residential Queensland. Now you can use this Residential Queensland folder, for example, just like you would your personal Box Documents folder. So anything I store in Residential Queensland will automatically get copied back up into the cloud in Box. So let's just do a test. Okay, so let's just take a document from out of here. Let's just say expense claims. And I'm going to copy that. And I want to put that in Residential Queensland. So let's chuck it in this toolbox folder. Now you'll notice once again that this box will turn orange quite quickly and then go blue, which means it's syncing in the background. Now, if I'm another person who's using the web version and I head into Residential Queensland and into the toolbox folder, straight away you'll see that file that I had set to sync from my desktop. So basically all Box Sync does is creates a gateway between your computer and the Box file sharing platform. So I don't actually need this file, so what I'm going to do is delete it. Now I'm hitting delete on this file, and the important thing to note about Box is nothing ever really gets deleted. All it does is put it in the trash. Now, your trash won't count for space, so you can put as much stuff back into the trash as you want. So I'm going to head back to my Box Documents folder here on my desktop, go back into Residential Queensland and into Toolbox. Now because I've got that folder set to sync, it's actually deleted my local copy as well. So if I deleted something through the web version and I have a folder set to sync, it's going to delete it on my local machine as well. This is to ensure everything is kept in sync. All right, well, let's head back to the main page here under Files. Now, I've got a lot of people in my team, but I also work with a lot of other people who aren't in my team. Now, my team's set to everyone having access to this one folder, which is great. But let's just say I want someone in the procurement team to be able to check something for me, and I want to give them access to some documents. So I want to share a folder with another user in the company. So what I'll need to do is just find something I want, say box training, and I'm going to click this button here. I'm going to go to share, and I'm going to invite a collaborator. Now you'll notice that there's a quicker way of doing that by just entering the person's name here. But for now, we're going to do it the longer way. So share, invite collaborators. Now it's important to note that sometimes you want people just to be able to see the files and not necessarily edit them. So I'm going to invite Joanna Savakis. I only want her to be able to view the documents. I don't want her to be able to edit them, just view them. So you take a look through the security groups here. Currently it's set to editor, which means that they have basically access to upload, download, preview, share, edit, and delete the files. But we just want to give her viewing it. So I'll click view and then click invite. So what's happening right now is an email is getting sent to Joanna, and she'll be able to click on that email and say, yes, I accept. And then when she goes to her main folder listing under box, she will be able to see the folder that I just shared.